Good afternoon, guys. My name is Corey. I'm with my partner Christy, and today we are going to be discussing strategies 17 and 18 for English learners in the language locker room. Um, these two strategies they work together. They have some really good close relationships with each other. Um, they both support the English learners or English language learners through collaboration, comprehension, and critical thinking. And then throughout this presentation, we'll explain the strategies, demonstrate some classroom activities, and show how these approaches support the language development in many meaningful ways. Um, Christy, would you like to go over today's game plan?
Yes. First, we'll explore sorting activities, what they are, why they matter, and how they work, and um, also have examples and actions. Then we'll transition into closed activities and discuss how students use context clues and prior knowledge to create meaning from text. And we'll also demonstrate both strategies and connect them to real class applications for English language learners. Next slide, please.
All right, so strategy 17, sorting activities. What is it and why does it matter? Sorting is when we take and we have our students organize words, pictures, ideas, or objects into categories based on similarities. And then different things like sorting activities and why it matters. It will help build the vocabulary of the student. Um, it will help them connect the meaning to the word. It will support language development. So the more that students talk and explain and listen to others thinking, it will help them that way. It encourages them to think. Students can compare and contrast the and make meaningful connections. It promotes collaboration. Students work together, small groups. They share ideas, learn from one another. This doesn't have to take place in the classroom per se. It could take place on the playground, or walking home from school, or walking to school together. And then once again, it builds confidence. It builds confidence so that they become successful. They start to see the patterns and the different things to help them make decisions moving forward. Um, how it works, you introduce the word or the phrases. At the early elementary level, you're introducing words. As you get older, they start to introduce phrases and different things like that. Um, as you introduce the words, you're going to want to introduce some sort of pictures or visual content to those if you can. Maybe some ideas. You're going to work on putting them into categories, labeling them, or even using headings as they get older. Um, you're going to learn to sort into categories, the students will, or I guess going back, we would provide the different categories and labels, and then we would have the students sort the vocabulary or the words into their categories. Students will explain their thinking as we go through the vocabulary words or the phrases. And then they are going to discuss and reflect. Some different examples of that, as far as discussing and reflecting or students explaining their thinking, is if you look down on the lower bottom of the screen. There's a couple different or three different categories that they've sorted into things like living things, non-living things, things that were once living. And it looks like the teachers provided them with some examples, and then we've asked them to, or that teacher has asked them to put them into those categories, and maybe explain why they did. Um, Another example is up on the middle of the screen there where it says examples in action. This one is used quite often in my second grade class, when I sit in with my mentor for the last year and a half or so, and I've even seen this used at the upper levels of fourth and fifth grade, and even some middle schools that I have observed. Um, so, like for instance, my mentor in the second grade, she will take a word like happy and sad, and she'll put it up on the board as the category. And then she will list or have charts listed on the whiteboard of different words that would go in um, into those categories. For instance, she'll use words like joyful, excited, unhappy, miserable, cheerful, upset, those types of things. And then what she will do is she will open it up into the classroom or the class, and they will think about where those words should be. Now these are second graders, so a lot of these words are easier for them. Some of them can be harder. Your English language learners, especially when English is not their first language or they're coming from a home that it's not their first language, this is where you can kind of really see where they need help at. And then it will also help them create that vocabulary and comprehension and connect those words to what they mean. Another really good one that she does is that she will use example 3 and example 4 a lot, um, where she puts the main idea up, and then she will give you details. And what she will ask the students to do is read the main idea, and then go over the 3 or 5 different little cards that she has on the whiteboard or their screen. And what they will do is they will provide details into that main idea. For instance, on this one, the sun provides energy to for Earth. And then she will have things like it helps plants grow, it gives us warmth, it helps solar panels. I've seen different things. It will give us energy, um, all that kind of good stuff. So what she does is then she asks the students to, or what we can do is ask the students to label those and put the ones that would fit under the main idea. And then if she had some on the board that didn't, she would do that as well. So those are some examples that you can use and we can use in the classroom. Some other things, let's try it. These are really cool. I've seen her use these a lot. The Write With It, the paper products, the other supplies. A lot of times, what she'll do there again, she'll still use the board, the whiteboard, or she might actually have a sheet where she's put the topic on the top, and then she will have multiple words, multiple pictures, and she will ask the students to put them or correspond them with that category. Um, um, Sometimes she uses a small group. I'm a big fan of small group, um, pulling kids, especially those that are struggling, um, to small groups because I think a lot of times kids that are struggling are more apprehensive not to put their hand up and ask questions in a large group or a classroom setting. But if we're in small groups with their peers or um, or kids or students that are alike, as far as what they believe are on the same level as them, they tend to open up a little bit more, and you start to understand where their difficulties are, and then you can help from there. Um, we also like to do a lot of reflecting in the classroom. And this doesn't have to be where they're writing down. It can be more discussion. In fact, I like discussion more so. It gets the kids thinking and talking. And sometimes especially at the second grade level, and even going in the fourth and fifth grade level, sometimes they have a hard time articulating what they want to say by writing it. So I like to do things like that. Um, the what and the why, or I'm sorry, I just skipped there we go. The big picture, the what, the how, and the when. What is sorting? There again, it's organizing the words, pictures, ideas, objects into categories based on similarities. Once again, you introduce it, you model it, you sort it, you explain it, and you discuss it. When you should do this, anytime you're introducing a new word, um, or let's just say a new phrase that you're going to read out loud. A lot of times, the best way to do it is introduce the vocabulary words. I like to have the kids highlight those words, circle those words, especially if it's in a passage. I like to discuss those words, maybe go over the meanings of those words so that everyone's on the same page. And then during the reading, a lot of times what I'll do is if I've asked them to highlight them, I will ask them to circle them as I read them, or vice versa, so that they still see the word and they're learning from that word. Um, we can do this in, you can do this in large groups or you can do it in small groups. There again, you're just trying to um, help them retain and comprehend what they're learning. Um, some key things to know about sorting and all that good stuff is that sorting activities helps organize the information and ideas. It builds their vocabulary, helps with their thinking skills and their comprehensions. Students talk, think, they connect with each other during their learning, and that's very valuable. Like I said, sometimes as teachers, they're a little intimidated by us or afraid to talk to us, but they will talk to their fellow classmates. And a lot of times your fellow classmates or they help them a lot, so that's really good to do. Um, One thing I will say, especially when it comes to learning English and the language and all the different things, because it is a really difficult language to learn. Um, when we are doing that, a lot of times you want discussion, so you don't want your classroom to be quiet. You want to hear them talking so that you can listen and collect data and understand where your students are. Um, that would be it. That would be it. Christy, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, I think, for strategy 18.
All right, thank you, Corey. Strategy 18 focuses on closed activities. A closed activity is when words are intentionally removed from a sentence or passage. Students can use context clues, vocabulary knowledge, syntax, and prior knowledge to determine which words belong in the bank or in the blank. Sorry. This strategy encouraged students to actively think about meanings while reading. So if we look at the what, like I said, it has we closed activities is when words are intentionally left out. So like if you have a worksheet and you say the tree is blank, so they would have to fill in the blank. Okay, and then the why we do it is to build vocabulary, improve comprehension, strengthens thinking skills, and increase confidence, and prepares real world reading. Next slide, Corey. So teachers typically begin with introducing vocabulary and reading the passage together. Students can analyze the text and use clues to determine the missing words. Students may work independently or with partners or in a small group. For English language learners, the strategy strengthens reading comprehension, vocabulary development, and confidence. Just like I said earlier in this example of closed passage, so this one talks about the water cycle. So it says the sun heats water in lakes, rivers, and oceans, causing it to blank into the air. The process is called blank. The water vaporizes, cools, and changes back into tiny blank. These droplets form clouds. When the droplets get too heavy, they blank to the ground. As rain, snow, sleet, or hail, it is called blank. The water then flows back to the rivers and oceans, and the cycle blanks. So we would have like a passage like this, a worksheet, and then we would give them a word bank that'll give them some words to fill in. So the words they can use like evaporation, precipitation, condensation, falls, collections, and continues. So how it works is first you teach the topic and the key vocabularies, then you present, which the students read the passage with the blanks, and then you allow them to think and guess. So students will use the clues, like basically the word bank, to fill in the blanks and figure out which word goes where. And then we'll check and discuss, which will review the answers and talk about the meaning. So the fifth thing you'll do is you'll reflect, which students think about what they learned, and then we'll repeat and grow. So we'll practice building stronger readers and confidence. Next slide. So in this closed activity are strongly connected to educational learner theories. Levi Vygotsky believes students learn through collaboration and interaction. Closed activities encourage peer discussions and shared thinking. Jerome Bruner focuses on scaffolding and discovering learning. Teachers provide support like visuals, context clues, and word banks until students become more independent. So Jean Piaget emphasized active thinking and problem solving. Closed activities encourage students to predict, analyze, and connect ideas while building understanding. So in this, we have a practice sheet. So in this, it has like pictures, and you also have a word bank at the very bottom. So we use pictures as context clues. Student fill in the missing word. So like on the first part where it says picture clothes, you have and it has a picture of the dog as in the blank, and then it likes to blank. So they would have to figure out which word goes in the first sentence, which is bark, park, or run. And then the beginning close, we provide the first letter or sound to support success. So like we want them to fill in the blank, like what letter comes next. So we want to say the C blank T is sleeping. So they would have to figure out what vowel goes in the middle. So that would be A. Okay, so we have the sentence close. We use short predictable sentences from stories or songs. So I see a blank, it is blank. So they would have more clues, or a word bank at the bottom says big red and apple. So, and then we have the interactive close, which is reading together and stop for students to fill in the blanks. So this would be like a whole group activity. So row your blank gently down the blank. So we would maybe suggest, okay, let's sing this row your boat song, and then we'd fill in the blanks and so on. Next slide, Corey. Let's try it. So now let's practice a closed activity together. As you read the passage, think carefully about which words make the most sense based on the clues in the sentence. Students use context clues, prior knowledge, and discuss with classmates to help determine the missing word. This strategy helps students become stronger readers while building confidence and comprehension. So it has our goals. We use context clues and what we know to fill in missing words and make the passage make sense. So why it works, it helps us think, understand, remember, and become better readers. And then you will need closed passage cards, pencils, and highlighters, which is optional. So we have in the middle here, we have rainy day fun. It's a closed passage, so they would fill in the blank. So the same as our last slide where we have a sentence. It was a rainy Saturday. Mia looked out the window and saw blank clouds in the sky. She wanted to go outside, but it was too blank. So she got her crayons and drew a blank picture. Then she read her blank book and drank hot blank. It turned out to be a wonderful day. So at the very bottom, we would have the kids do exactly what I just did, which they'd read the passage with the blanks in there, and then they would figure out from our word bank below if it was gray, rainbow, cocoa, cold, or favorite. And so how to do it in a small group. We'd read the passage together once, look at the blanks and read the sentence around each one, use clues and other word word bank to fill in the best word, and then we'll read the passage again to check that it makes sense. Okay. Next slide.
Okay.
So although sorting and close activities are different strategies, they work together extremely well. Sorting activities help students organize and connect ideas. Close activities help students apply those ideas while reading and comprehending texts. Together, these strategies support vocabulary developments, comprehension, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. These strategies also help students become more independent learners and readers. So the what? So closed activities is when words are intentionally left out in passages or sentence or text. And then the when during reading instructions to build vocabulary and comprehensions, and small groups, partner work, or independent practice before, during, or after reading to active thinking and review key ideas. And then the why. It helps our students build vocabulary, improves comprehension, straighten thinking skills, and an increased confidence, and prepares for real world reading. Corey, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think you've got it pretty much covered.
Okay.
But if we moved on to the next one, I could help you there. As far
Okay.
as why the strategies work together. Um, the sorting and the close activities are different strategies, but they do work extremely well together. Sorting activities help students organize and collect or connect the ideas, whereas close activities help students apply those ideas while reading and comprehending the text. So they work kind of hand in hand um, with each other. Um, Together, they benefit the vocabulary development, comprehension, communication, collaboration, the critical thinking, and then hopefully, and then ideally, it does help the students become more independent learners and readers. Um, so yeah, some different things that we can do in action, like we discussed earlier. A lot of it was the sorting of the living and non-living. If you look at the examples there, these are worksheets. These are actually worksheets that I've seen in the classroom that we have used, and the kids seem to like them and understand them. And there again, this is like a really these are short activities that you can do during the day. 10, 15 minutes, and then progress from there. Christy?
So now we'd like everyone to think about this question. How do these strategies support English language learners more effectively than traditional worksheets? So I'll allow you to take a moment to think independently and then discuss with your partner, and then share your ideas. Okay, so this type of collaboration interaction is exactly what makes these strategies so effective for language development. It also allows us to work together. Most students work very well in small groups, especially if they're not confident enough to do a big group activity. So it allows them to think. They can pair with another partner. Most of the time, if you have like two partners sharing, then they'll have some great ideas. They'll be more engaging. They'll be more willing to participate in that activity. And then you can give them an opportunity to share their discussions. Most of the time, like the person that's very shy will be like, okay, you take over, but they'll input a whole bunch of information when it's just the pair talking. And then when they go to share, they'll have like whichever one in the group that's not that's very confident and loves to talk and everything, they'll have them share, and then everyone will actually listen to the activity or listen to their explanation of why they thought this would work or that would work. And then the other learners will get some ideas. Oh, like, oh yeah, that's right. I think that this goes with that. So do you have anything else to add, Corey?
Yeah, no, and I think this would be your time at this stage, when you're at this stage or at the end of the stage, is where you would create your exit ticket. So you could do an individual exit ticket for either strategy, or you could do it as a group, small group, large group. But exit tickets are they're actually really good sources for data, especially if you're doing them daily, weekly. I encourage I we do them in my second grade class. My mentor does them daily, and that way she can kind of look at them throughout the week and make adjustments as she needs to. So um, I would encourage the exit tickets, but yeah, the think pair share is huge, and plus it gets the kids talking with each other, um, and it makes for a fun class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we conclude, let's look over what we learned. We learned that sorting activities is the organization information or organizing information by categories. It builds a vocabulary. It helps with comprehension and the critical thinking. It's used in science, vocabulary, literature, and math. Um, a key takeaway would be sorting helps the students see relationships and make the meaning. A lot of times. As far as strategy 18 closed activities, students use the context clues to fill in missing words. It builds vocabulary. There again, their comprehension and their confidence level. It's used in like reading the vocabulary content areas and assessments. Um, and so why it matters there again, it builds the vocabulary, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking to improve our comprehension, strengthen the thinking skills, increase confidence, prepare students for the real world of reading. It should be used before readings, during readings, after readings, in all content areas, small groups, partner work, independent practice. Um, Works together by sorting builds knowledge and organization, whereas close builds understanding and the application of it. Together, they'll create a deeper learning and independent readers. Um, it helps with all learners as it's visuals, it's interacted or interaction, supports for language development, engaging on hands-on, builds background knowledge, promotes equity or yeah, equity and access to it all. Um, yeah, two very important strategies. And believe it or not, if you're in a classroom, you're probably already doing this, and you probably don't even think twice about it. It's just something that is it's almost built in. It is part of a curriculum. I know that, but once you start doing them, it's very very simple, and then um, you really get to see the students thrive in them, especially by the middle of the year, and then by testing time, it's you can really see a difference. Some of our resources here that we used, I do want to acknowledge that I did use, or we did use AI to create the background for this, which is pretty cool. I hope uh, I hope everyone liked it. I tried to leave it. I'm a PE. I'm a PE teacher by most of the day, and I'm in a classroom the other part of the day. So I like to try and tie things into sports. I don't know, it makes it easier for the kids. I think they like it. So, did you have any closing, Christy?
I just want to say that as future educators, we want students to experience language learning as meaningful, engaging, and interactions. Um, like you might have several classmates that may already be teaching. As for me, I'm in a classroom, but I'm not the actual teacher. I'm an instructional aide. So I'm kind of slowly working my way into becoming a main teacher. I That's why I'm taking this class is so I can um, get my bachelor's degree to start teaching and have my own class. That's my ultimate goal is to be a teacher out here and on the reservation where I'm from. So a lot of the language here um, is mostly English, but um, a few of us speak our Apache language. So some of the students speak Apache. So that's where I speak a little bit of it, but I understand a lot of it. So a lot of the parents only speak Apache, so we'll have someone translate or we'll let them know like this is what we want or so we do a lot of translating. So it's kind of nice to have someone who can translate. I'm like I said, I can speak a little bit of it, but I'm not fluent. I wish I was, but I think the most important takeaway from this is that we um, get to know the students, their language they speak at home, and the preference that they want us to um, have the family relay the information in. So I'm hoping that um, I have a whole bunch of knowledge of from just taking this class to take home or take into the class that I'm wanting to um, establish. So I'm taking notes and doing everything that I can. So thank you, Corey, for helping me with this presentation. I'm glad you kind of took over the reins because I'm a very shy person. I don't do a lot of talking unless I know you, then I'm like a chatterbox. But other than that, speaking in front of people is not my strength. So I'm so thankful and so glad that you led me through this, and I just want to thank everyone for allowing us to do this presentation, and hope you enjoyed it. Corey, you
Yeah,
have
and
anything else to add?
no problem on that. Um yeah, I don't mind speaking in front of people. I used to be really shy about it, but I'm getting better. So,
Yeah.
but with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for being part of the language locker room. And if we have any other future presentations, I hope you look for them and enjoy them. Other than that, let's have a great day. I'll
Yes.
talk to you later, Christy.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.